We've got Stanionis is in a mandatory against Gearsov, our guy. BBC have already messaged me saying, look, could we step aside Gearsov and go straight into Stanionis? They're going to look at that performance and fancy their chances. Oscar De La Hoya's been tweeting, we're ready, Vergil Ortiz against Boots. I like that. But what they don't understand is when Boots is fighting those guys, it's all about trying to make it entertaining. The first fight was a stinker. I actually thought that was a good fight tonight. And by the way, I also think that guy beats most 147 pounders. He's a good fighter. But Boots is just trying to make it exciting, trying to get him out of there. He doesn't really have a lot of regard for what's coming back. He's getting hit too much because he's like kind of not really even motivated. And against Barrios, against Stanionis, against Norman, it's going to be different. And against Ortiz, it's going to be different. And the performance has got to be different. Because he knows, and Bozy knows, that performance might not be good enough to beat one of those guys. But it will be a different performance from Boots against one of those guys. Don't worry about that. But now we've got a really big decision to make. I never like giving up world class. But sometimes the time is right. And, you know, we may get a substantial offer to fight Vergil Ortiz in Saudi Arabia. And then from there, it's on Jaron and Bozy. That's it. And he'll get my advice, but these are the guys that will make the decision. But for me, I think it's only unification or Ortiz. That's it.
For Boots, what do you think of that February 22nd fight against Ortiz? What do you think of that February 22nd fight against Ortiz?
Like I always say, I want to fight the best. I ain't, I'm saying, I don't try to fight these, bottom tier guys. When you fight the best, you're gonna be better.
And Eddie, what you said you would have advice for him. What is your advice?
It depends on the financial package. Depends on what we want to do long term. Depends if we don't want to return to 147. You know, the reason that we fought Chukhadzhian tonight was because Boots had a desire to capture the other championships at 147. So we got to review that position. We've got to look at the option against Vergil Ortiz. We've got to look at the financial package for that fight as well. Because as well, don't forget, you know, a win over someone like Vergil Ortiz on a Riyadh season card is going to take his profile to another level. So it's going to be very tempting. And by the way, it's a brilliant fight. A brilliant fight. I mean, Boots against Vergil Ortiz is one of the best fights out there to be made. Not just in the division, but in the boxing. Two tremendous young fighters.
JP Moreno, Latino
They're going to get brave. Stanionis has been on. Oscar De La Hoya has been on. Ryan Garcia has been on. Good.
Well, Ryan's a major marquee fight.
Of course, we've got. But listen, there's talk, and there's, you know, the reality is, you know, if Ryan Garcia wants to come back from his ban in May or June or whenever he's going to come back and go straight into a fight with Boots Ennis, we would more than welcome that. You're only going to see the best of him against great fighters, and Ryan Garcia is a good fighter. You know, he's well out there, but he's a good fighter.
Boots right here too. How much different is it, you know, fighting on the road where you're more away from distraction versus fighting at home where you're more accessible? You know, you got family.
As I didn't see hardly anybody shots. Today, Ennis, man, one of the best fighters in my eyes, was a headhunter. What was you telling him in the corner?
This is what you got for the corner. Go to the body. Boots would have walked him down, but every time he got close to him, he would grab him and hold him. That's why I told him that's where the fakes come in. You know, we didn't know, I guess he got bored with him. know what I mean? That's why he was taking them chances like that. You know, like just like Eddie said, it was somebody that was the top, you know, the top of the line, like 127 pound champion or something. You will see a different attitude.
Boots, Kevin Garcia with Fight Hype. So I just wanted to get your response or thoughts, you know, after your performance is obviously going to invite people like we were just talking about, Ryan Garcia, to say, hey, you know, he may be susceptible to my hook, or Bud after the fight tweeted, and he gave you like advice. He didn't say anything crazy, but it felt a little cryptic. But what's your response to those people who are going to now obviously try to cast doubt on your ability to perform against those dudes, Ryan or Bud?
I love it. You know, they ain't gonna do nothing but add fuel to the fire. You know, for the next performance. You know, that's what I need. That's what I want. You know, that's what I'm saying. The next fight gonna be even better. You know, I ain't worried about nothing. For real. You know what I'm saying? I know my next fight gonna be better. You know, go back to it. You know, with the team and we're focused on listening.
Got you. Any response to Bud's tweet? He tried to give you like some advice. He said, you know, be careful, one slip up, you know, it could cost you everything.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah, nothing.
Boots, Mariano Wagner with the final bell. Can you talk a little bit about the fighters that you promoted on the undercard tonight?
Dennis, the quiet storm Thompson. You know, I got a second round stoppage. He looked beautiful tonight. You know, he only 2-0. He for somebody 8-5. You know what young up and come fighters doing that. You know, he looked phenomenal. He looked strong. He looked sharp. He did his thing, and then my other fighter Ismail the Chef Muhammad did his thing. You know, his fight got dropped down 2 rounds because of a little delay, but he was about to put that kid out. You know, both of them guys is tremendous fighters, and I love and appreciate them. You know, and I'm glad they building and developing each and every day. You know, I can't wait to take their career to the next level.
And then can you talk a little bit about the undercard from your perspective, particularly the Khalil Coe fight?
Yeah, it's a great undercard. I mean, Bam was sensational, as we've discussed. He's done his press conference. Ray Ford looked great. And Khalil Coe was in an absolute war. It was a brilliant fight, but his conditioning was shit. I mean, that's the reality. I don't know what else to say. Like, you can't be blowing out of your arse after 3 rounds if you want to go on and become a world champion fighter. You've got to live the life, and you've got to be ready to go to the trenches against someone like Manuel Gallegos, who's not anywhere near world level, but is a good, tough opponent that's going to give you rounds to progress you to the next level. So, you know, Boots knows, and these young fighters will know, and he'll tell them conditioning is key.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we talk about on weight as well. That's why the decision around weight is so important, and Khalil struggled at weight. If you don't get your weight right, if you're not conditioned, you're going to find tough times in the fight, and if you can't come through them, you're going to get beat. And that's what happened to Khalil Coe tonight. So he'll be back, but he's got to learn a spiteful lesson. Ammo Williams, great to see him back. You know, Zaquin Moses, very, very good fighter. And so is Dennis and Ishmael as well. Really, and Ray Ford, a great performance, as I said. You know, I think we've got the top 230 pounders in the world in Nunes and Ray Ford, and I think he's a future world champion, 2-weight world champion.
Okay, now we're finally here at the final start at this thing that we constantly continue to ask. So, look, you guys did a tremendous performance. Shout out to everybody from Philadelphia that came out to support. Shout out to Boots. Shout out to the trainer, Bozy Ennis. And like, look, we know the 2 options that you want to pick, but there's still a 3rd option. That 3rd option.
Now, I want to know what's the feeling being doing fighting at home. Your last fight, you had 14,000. This fight, Eddie Hearn, you said you had 11,000. How does that make you feel, being as though your crowd decreased in a few months?
I mean, it decreased because of the opponent, the opposition. You know, nobody really wanted to see this fight. You know, I took this fight because I wanted to, stay busy. You know, and I ain't want to be sitting around for another year. You know, I ain't trying to be still and all that stuff and things like that. So, you know, I took this fight to stay busy, and that's my mandatory. I had to fight him.
So,
I'm sorry, we're gonna move to the next one.
Go ahead.
Everybody can get to
We're just going to have a few more, guys, because we've got to leave the building tonight.
Hey, Eddie, Jay with Sportbox TV. Looping back around to Vergil Ortiz versus Boots, what do you think the fight looks like? How does it play out, and in what fashion does it end?
Listen, I think it's a great fight. And Boots knows he's got to be better than tonight against a fighter like Vergil Ortiz. But the training would be different, the mindset would be different, the challenge would be different, and that's where you're going to see the best of a great fighter like Boots. So, you know, I really respect Vergil Ortiz. I love Robert Garcia. Oscar de la Hoya's a Plunker, and you know, we got to make sure. And I'll be saying to Boots, we can't afford to lose that fight. I can't lose to that fucker. No way.
We definitely ain't.
If you don't win that fight, I'll never talk to you again.
Good. We don't do that. You know, like I said, the better the competition, the better I'm gonna be. And all we're gonna do is go forward. Y'all know I love pressure fighters.
Listen, there's always a price, but I just want to watch him fight Vergil Ortiz. Obviously, there's a lot of conversations with His Excellency, and we'll be moving forward to potentially make that fight. Last question, guys.
Eddie, what's a plunker?
All right. I don't know the word in America, like.
Say it.
Just, what word would you guys know? Say it, Eddie. Prick. Really? Listen, with all jokes aside, Oscar's like one of the greatest fighters of all time, so I give him respect. And I don't mind his clapback Thursday stuff, it's a bit weird. But he's a character, and he gets people talking. And him against me, not in the ring, but in a match up with our fighters, there's so many great fights to make. Shakur against Zepeda's pretty much done. You know, Boots against Ortiz. Ramirez against Opataya. That's Zerdo. The other Ramirez against Catterall. Pacheco against, he said Munguia, but Munguia left him, so we can't do that. But there's loads of other fights out there to be made. I just want to make the best fights and the best cards. So, you know, jokes aside with Oscar, we can make a tremendous night for the sport. And that's what His Excellency wants to do. And I do believe you'll see these fights come together on February 22nd.
Eddie, just one really quick one. Keyshawn last night, that performance, him tank, what do you think about that fight?
I love Keyshawn. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's getting better and better and better. You can't take, when a fighter comes in 7 pound over or 5 pound over or whatever it was, it's not because they're struggling at the weight, it's because you know that everything's broken down in that fight. So I don't think it was the same Lemos that fought Richardson Hitchens. I think that's irrelevant. He demolished him. And that's what you've got to do sometimes. You've got to go in there. The crowd looked great in Norfolk, Virginia. It's great for boxing. Keyshawn's a great young fighter. And in time, I think he'll be a great fight for Gervonta Davis. But he still lost 3 times to Andy Cruz, our fighter. And he'd never beat Andy Cruz. And Jaron Ennis can also confirm that. And Bozy can confirm that because he trains Andy Cruz. So I think if Keyshawn wants to fight before Gervonta Davis, sign us up for Andy Cruz. He took him to school 3 times, and he'd be ready to do it again. And on that,
couple last words for fans worldwide. Couple last words for fans worldwide.
You said a couple of questions.
Last words for your fans.
Oh, last words. I appreciate everybody. You know, that they've been tuning in and watching me. Next fight will be better. We're gonna put on a show. We continue to keep getting better, keep developing. Stay tuned.
Thanks for having Philadelphia. Thank you.
Flair fighting Jaron Boots Ennis in a
major
hit in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, thank you. You're going to leave the messages to the media, but one thing I will say is I like you, Blair. I think you're a very funny guy.
We'll go viral again.
Yeah, and I do think you can fight, but we got to move on to that next level now because.
Okay, so you saying you want to move on to the next level, but I'm yet still the only fighter in the welterweight division that actually fought a major name. So why not make this fight happen?
Because we want either a major name or...
A major name is Blair the Flair.
No, I'm afraid you're not.
Let's see, how?
No,
how do you say?
You're definitely...
When's the last time somebody knocked the tooth out from Broner?
It doesn't matter. Adrian Broner...
When's the last time he went viral on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter?
Adrian Broner is shot to pieces, right? Let me tell you one thing now. Whilst I take the microphone off you, I think you're a lovely guy. I've got a good fight for you. Karen Chukhadzhian. I'll tell you what I'll do. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do.
I want the winner.
I'll tell you what.
I want the loser.
Oh look, the lights have gone out on Blair the Flair. Someone's lent on the light, by the way. Who's ever leaning on the wall is lent on the light. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. I will put the fight on. You against Karen. Okay? You beat him.
You can get some money for that.
We'll get you a major fight. All right?
Against who?
against a big flyweight, Conor Ben, maybe Jaron, Ennis, we'll see.
Can we get that in writing?
Quite possibly.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, we want to go to the next level.
Look,
You want to
the whole thing is, did I not get enough? Did I not do enough?
No, absolutely not. You've never done enough in your career to fight Jaron. Who have you beaten?
Okay, how many ex-champions you guys fight?
Brett.
No, how
Next.
many ex-champions you have
Brett,
fought?
Brett,
How many ex-champions
not
have
have
you fought?
stop
How
it.
many ex-champions that
You
Conor
do
Ben
not
fought?
have it.
At least I fought two.
You do not have. He fought Chris Algieri, he's a former world champion. By the way.
Chris Algieri.
Yeah. By the way.
That's right.
We're going to move on to the media. It was great chatting to you. Every home should have.
Thank you for that.
Right, cool.
We like the way you talk.
Over here.
We love you, Blair.
Over here, got a question for Boots, representing the fight against Chukhadzhian. After the knockdown, could you talk about Chukhadzhian's toughness? Because he took a number of shots there over the course of those rounds there, over the course of the fight, and, wasn't able to, I guess, go down after that first knockdown. So could you talk about Chukhadzhian's toughness?
He had good toughness, but that just is more so me rushing my shots, not bending my knees. It's a lot of little stuff. Being lazy a little bit, like just like diesel, can't be like that. I definitely would have got the knockout. I would have, bent my knees and used my ankles and listen to my corner run. That's all.
First of all, I want to say congratulations to Boots and his team. Eddie Hearn for bringing the fight to Philly. Definitely needed that. But Boots, for this to be, if this is going to be your last fight at 147, are you excited about what you did in the ring tonight?
Like I said, I mean, let me go watch it and I give you a response. Right now, like I feel like it was a okay.